So we are live. We can let the chat room populate here if you want.
Yes. Where are you, bitches?
We won't start the show just yet.
So, interesting thing I've been reading. You know, they say it's all in your head with anxiety. It is not all in your head. It's actually in your body. It's in your nervous system.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
Yep. The vagus nerve, to be exact. A lot of fight or flight.
That's very
Why do all my books get published on Sundays? Like, who's online on Sundays? Nobody, right?
No, I think people would be on Sundays.
Yeah?
Well, I mean, football season, so they're probably watching football.
Yeah, they're not watching Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Oh, they might be. They might be. Well, they would be watching Amazon Prime if they were
Right?
watching something. We got to figure out. So what I really liked is growing up as a kid. Like I would read these books, but then they would make them in like a VHS version, but it would be like the really low budget like animation form, where it's almost like cardboard cutouts as they moved across, but they would tell the story, and like the animal might move or whatever might move in the scene. But those are always fun to watch. They would put them on in elementary school for
I
us.
think I remember that. Yeah, I think I remember that.
All right, here we go. Got a few people coming in. Fred's
Hey,
here.
friend Chuck. What's up?
Chuck.
Okay, there we go. I just tweeted. Very short.
Should get something out there.
Are you going to actually put the music on? Or we're just waiting for people to come in. Hey,
we're waiting for a few people to come in. I didn't want to
This is
just
the pre-show.
start it out. Yeah, we're doing a little pre-show.
We're doing the pre-show here.
It's your first time solo, so
it is.
We'll warm up. We'll let them get in here so they can see the beginning and everything.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
They're getting like a free backstage here, April.
La 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 la. Yes, we can do this. It's going. How are you guys going? What's up with you guys? How has the week treated you?
We got Fred. He's just hanging out.
Just hanging out? Fred's reading an interesting book. What's up, yo? Hey, Winona. Thanks, Chuck. I know, right? It's like all the stuff I've handled, and I'm nervous about doing the podcast by myself, right? Hello, Stephen. Hi. Yeah, I'm solo tonight. See how this goes. Well, I'm not really solo. I'm with you guys.
That is true. You always have the chat. You always have the chat that you can go to. That is true. All right. Well, I guess we'll get this started, April. You ready?
I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
All right. Let's do this.
That's what she said.
Welcome to the most important podcast you are listening to right now. The A Show with April Hunter and Aron Stevens.
Hey, I'm April Hunter, and you are watching The A Show. Normally, there is another A across from me, but he is in Alaska on an exhibition right now, so it's just me. Translated loosely, that means he has family he is taking care of. So you're stuck with me tonight. And what we are going to do is we're going to have a little show and tell, because I have some cool stuff. We are going to look at one of our regular viewers. We sent in a transformation picture, so we're going to see that. We're going to talk about mental health a little bit. So I have some interesting stuff to touch on. And then we're going to do a Q&A, and it's going to be an Ask Me Almost Anything. So we're going to do all of that today. So how are you guys doing? Everybody looks like they're, are you handling your week this week? Has this been a rough week for you? This has been a rough week for me. I lost my flock of chickens. I've had chickens since 2014. And it's a small flock, but I lost one to a predator, and it was so stressful to one of my wild ones that she left. She literally flew the coop. And then I was stuck with only one. And the last one I had raised since she was, 2 days old for 6 years. So I didn't feel like it was fair to keep her. But if you've been following my social media, you've been seeing pictures of her with the dog and the cat and myself hanging out on the porch. And I took my sweet time rehoming her, that's for sure. But she went to a farm last Wednesday, a place called Olive Drab Farm, and they do goat's milk soaps. And it's a no-kill farm. It's vegetarian, and she is up there with 27 other hens and goats and a cat and 3 dogs, and she's actually doing really well. So that keeps me sane. So even though it's really, really weird to not have her here. So yeah, sometimes thank you. Sometimes doing the right thing for them feels like the shitty thing for you, It's been weird because I'm used to having my whole schedule around chickens, which is get up in the morning and make sure you're back by sunrise or sunset, which is not my schedule. I'm a night person. But that has been a major weird thing for my week. And I also had an ablation, 2 of them actually on my leg. So I was moving a little slowly. So it's been an interesting week for me. So, and here we are solo. So hopefully you guys are doing okay. On the upside, we're going to do a little show and tell because I had something super exciting happen on Sunday, which I'm going to tell you about and show you. I've been working on a children's book for, about 3 years, and it got published on Sunday. So I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek at all of it. And it's called Monty, A Tale of No Tale. So, Colin, do you want to give them a peek? So I started this at Full Sail University, and it's been a labor of love. Obviously, the dog was based on Bella, my corgi, and the chicken was based on one of my hens. I had an editor who I adored at the time. He lived in Ireland. He was I used to work with him all the time. I worked with him for 10 years. And this was the last project we worked on together before he passed away. And he wanted it published. So the book is dedicated to him. And Aron helped me rewrite the entire thing. And it was written decently before, but now it's really good. Because you know how Aron raps, he does all his rhymes. The whole thing rhymes all the way through. Like, it's got a really good cadence. So he put all that part together. So I know I'm super excited too. I went through 5 illustrators before I got one who actually would do the work. And it took us the better part of the year with everything she was going through. But I got super fortunate. And my illustrator used to work for Disney. And I caught her between projects. And I caught her with what she called COVID brain, where she just wasn't able to get creative and think of her own project, but she wanted to do something, so she took mine on. Otherwise, I never would have been able to afford her at all. But that book is now on Amazon, and it's on Barnes & Noble, and you can get it in time for the holidays if you have a kid in your life. And I fully expect you to go ahead and buy a copy for all the children in your life, even that nephew that you barely see, and push me to a good spot there because you love me, and then leave me a wonderful review because I try to be good to you. So be good to me back. So that's what I ask. So plus you're the first ones to see the book all the way through. No one else has seen it. Oh, I've been telling the guys at work with grandkids about it. I'm ordering mine on Friday on, but yeah, from Bookshelf. Thank you. I actually ordered one myself because I've got a lot of different talents. Yeah, no kidding, right? Just none of them. Jail of all trades, master of none. I Yeah, I ordered a copy myself because when I order a box, it's going to take forever for that to get printed and get it here. So I just want my own copy, so I can say I've got my own copy. So there's that, and I know a lot of people have already bought a copy because some people have sent me the receipts, and there's something about that that's so exciting, and I think it's because I've spent a living kind of putting a roof over my head because of what I look like. And when I can actually do something that comes from my brain and it works out, it's like, haha. So it's so much more satisfying. And I don't know if that makes sense. But that's the best way I can describe it. And I always said I have two sets of fans. So there's the people who just want the signed pictures. They join the sites and they want the pictures, and that's great. These are great fans. I love it. And there are pictures that do not want signed pictures. And they're like, someone will say, I just don't feel comfortable. I don't want a picture of you, but I like to read your blogs, or I like to, I'll buy your books or watch the podcast, or I'll, shop on your Etsy store and get your candles. And it's like, not always do the twain meet, but I'm extremely fortunate to have that, I think. So I feel, very lucky. So thank you, all of you. So, yeah, thank you. Indiana, Indiana Jones cosplay. Makes sense. You want to be recognized for more than just your looks. Yeah, kind of, right? So thank you. So speaking of show and tell, last week we asked for transformation pictures, and Brandon Keon sent us a couple. And there we go. There's a before, still looking cute. And there's an after. Yeah, you can see that I can see right there, your tummy is way down. So your face looks thinner. Very nicely done. Are you still going with that? You should be really proud of yourself. I have a friend that just dropped something like 30 pounds, and she just did a few minor tweaks to her diet. Actually, Eva, she's here. So she's been getting on the bike, and she walks more, and she changed her diet around and does more gluten-free stuff and smaller meals and just some minor tweaks, and she's just gradually dropped. And it's been really fun to watch the transformation and see her take off kind of like a butterfly. So yeah, thank you. If you guys want to send your transformation pictures in, I would love to see more of those. So if you have any tips for what works for you, definitely share them, because I have one. Like at night, I would say, salad queen by day, junk food whore by night. So at night, you want something sweet and creamy, and that's when the ice cream urges come. So sugar-free pudding, especially like sugar-free chocolate pudding. And then you get the whipped cream, like they'll have the regular whipped cream because it's really low in sugar. So you have a cup of your sugar-free pudding, and then you put your whipped cream on there, and you have your sweet and creamy, but you're looking at about 70 or 80 calories for the pudding. And I think it's like 15 calories for 2 tablespoons of the whipped cream. So overall, even if you fill it up a few times, you're still looking at about, 150, 175 calories. And it's pretty freaking awesome. You can almost fool yourself into thinking it's ice cream. I do. That works. Endless dill pickles work too if you're a salty person. So, give those a try late at night, and they'll kind of help you out. Because it's the night cravings that'll kick your ass, right? Set you back a little bit. 248 to 210. No, do not wait until January 1st. Every minute of the day is another chance to start over. I don't know why people are like, oh, and we talked about this last week. Oh, wait till Monday. Oh, wait till January 1st. No. Do it when you make up your mind to do it. And that could be tonight. That could be tomorrow morning. That could be, Tuesday. Just, I don't know why people feel the need to, make some kind of milestone thing. Oh yeah, Eva's saying the pretzels. Okay, Glutino. Glutino has these little pretzels that are gluten-free, and they're freaking fabulous. So highly recommend. Glutino also has, what are they? English muffins. They don't look the prettiest, but they taste pretty darn good. Recommend those as well. So yeah, no bags of chips before bed. So try and stick to protein before bed if you can. So there's our show and tell there. And thanks for sharing, Wolf. Appreciate it. And I would love to see more from you guys. Winona says, oh, I'm not done the transformation posting, but I did post a picture the other day of me as a baby, my mom holding me. It was the anniversary of her death on the 13th. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's rough. Yeah, it's rough. I've lost both my parents. So that's something I don't think people really understand how it is until you actually lose your parents. Because you can have sympathy, but you can't really have empathy. And that's I always say that about like mental health too. When you understand, when you can relate to somebody because you have the same stuff going on, there's a real difference between sympathy and empathy. And actually, speaking of that, when earlier this week I posted something that got a whole lot of feedback on both Twitter and Facebook, and for once it wasn't nasty stuff. So I wrote that people who have anxiety tend to watch the same movies and TV shows again and again because they enjoy the predictability of knowing what comes next and how things end. And boy, did I get a lot of response to that. And people were telling me, oh, I watched that. This is the 28th time this month I've watched Cats, or I'm on my 5th time, whatever, of watching this. And a lot of people related to it. I got everything from bingo to this is how many times I've seen this. And it made me realize that anxiety is something that I think almost everyone deals with to some degree, but we don't really deal with it. And we all deal with it, but we don't necessarily deal with it. So yeah, horror movies, Eva says, yeah. So I thought, why don't we talk about that a little bit? So Colin has a couple of slides, and you guys can look at these and tell me if this is relatable to you at all. So I'm gonna ding, ding, ding. There you go. Yeah, that one's really relatable. Anybody feeling those? So I thought that I would bring up a couple of things. Oh yeah, right? Hit a nerve there. So yep. So I thought I would I read something a while ago, and it said people who are living in the past deal with depression, and people who are living in the future deal with anxiety. So the key to trying to handle things is live in the now, which is easier said than done, right? especially with our attention spans being all over the place. So they have a word for this in psychology, or a little cheat for it. It's called future tripping. So when you start thinking of, I call it worst case Ontario, for those of you who have watched Trailer Park Boys, when you start going to worst case Ontario and start playing everything out, like, oh God, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And what if they hate me? And what if I never hear back? And oh my God, it's called future tripping. And we all know that that stuff doesn't usually play out the way it does in our heads. But yeah, I kind of have to recognize it and then stop and get in the moment. So, you know how they say anxiety is in your head? It's actually not. It's in your body. It's in your nervous system. So there are some things that you can do to kind of catch yourself and handle this. And there are actually different types of anxiety. And it's caused by different things. It's caused by genetics. If you have family members that tend to be anxious, there's a good chance that you inherited it. So it's biology. It's caused by neurotransmitters. It's caused by hormones. It's caused by a fight or flight being set off, like, I don't know, 2020 and 2021. It's caused by inflammation. So if you are not eating right and you're dealing with a lot of inflammation, that can trigger your anxiety also. And there's different types as well. So you could have generalized anxiety disorder, which is the most common. There's social anxiety. You could have panic disorder, where that's, flat out feel like you're having a heart attack. Agoraphobia, various different phobias. And PTSD is actually a form of anxiety, which is really interesting because a lot of people only associate it with like military veterans coming back. But PTSD, a lot of people feel like they're destined to die. And that is a form of anxiety also. And it's also usually incorrect. And that's something that has to be dealt with. OCD is also a form of anxiety. And I did not know all this until I sat down and started to read it all. So you can come by it many different ways. You can have different versions of it. You can have one version or multiple versions of it. But there are lots of things you can do for it. And yeah, as Keon says, or the PTSD is very common with the military, and also a lot of non-military have it too. Yeah, I think it's more common than we realize, and I think the older we get, the more we've seen and been through, the more likely it is to deal with some kind of PTSD. Like, say you've been, I don't know, let's see. Say, all right, say you've been through a really, really bad relationship with somebody who has been abusive, and then you're going to deal with some kind of PTSD right there. So like any kind of trauma, you've been in a car accident and, you're driving down that same road again and you get the anxiety that, oh my God, this is where I got in a car accident. Like, that can happen. So yeah, exactly. Winona. So, and the more we obviously live, the more chances of, I'm not sure the best way to put this, but the more chances of like damage can happen. So unless it's dealt with and we learn how to handle it, we start developing really unhealthy coping mechanisms, or we just don't deal with it at all. So there are a few things that can be done. So here is a list, and you can go back and rewatch this if you're interested, but here are a list of natural supplements you can take that actually will help. And they're not addictive. You can use them as needed. You have to use them on a regular basis, but they calm the neurotransmitters and help you with sleeping, help you with staying calm. And you can look up each supplement to figure out which one works best for you. Or in my case, I use a couple different types. So there's rhodiola, passion flower, valerian root, magnesium. That one you should take at night. Lysine, chromium, GABA, and ashwagandha, which is a Ayurvedic herb. Highly recommend that one. Yeah, like losing a pet or a chicken, perhaps. So there you go. Rhodiola, passion flower, valerian root, magnesium, lysine, chromium, GABA, and ashwagandha. So if you're not taking some of those, you might want to look into that. If you or somebody you know has some kind of anxiety. What you might want to do also, and I know everybody beats meditation into the ground, but the reason why it's helpful is because it also helps slow down your neurotransmitters and control your brain. So there are apps out there where you can just do 2 minutes. So even 2 minutes can help retrain your brain to slow down and be in the now. Another thing that you can do is while you're brushing your teeth, pay full attention for the whole 2 minutes to what you are doing, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're tasting while you're brushing your teeth. And you're right there. You're current. You're feeling. You're in the now. So when you are dealing with anxiety, one of the things you want to do to bring you back is to use all your senses. So if you know that you're starting to like go all over the place and scatter, take a breath and listen for a minute and say, what do I hear? What do I see? What do I smell? What do I feel? So do you feel the material touching you with your clothing? Do you have a headache? What do you feel? What are you smelling right now? What are you hearing? What are you watching? What are you seeing? So if you tune into all your senses, it'll bring you back to right now. So some of the psychologists are recommending Tetris. So if you start having panic attacks or a lot of anxiety, they're recommending to play Tetris. I've never played. I don't know how it goes, but that seems to be pretty common with people that, and I guess it really works. So there's a couple of things. And another one is, so I want you guys to do this with me. I don't know if you're sitting or standing or what you're doing right now, but okay. Do this with me, okay? I want you to take a deep breath in for 4, hold it for 4, and then out for 4. We're going to do this 3 times, all right? Ready? Okay, in, hold, out. Okay, one more. In, hold, out. All right, one more. In, out. All right, now what I want you to do is we're going to tense everything up. So curl your toes up, squeeze your butt, okay? Make a fist, squeeze your everything here up top. Now squeeze your shoulders, everything up, okay? Bite down with your jaw and squinch your face. Now let it all go and breathe. How do you feel? I don't know about you, but I feel better. So thanks, guys. I needed that. So you can do that whenever you need to chill the fuck out, basically. And no, it works. It does work. It's really weird. It's that clenching down your jaw, squinching your face up, bringing your neck up, and making a fist. I don't know why it works, but it just does. And sometimes I'll do that when I'm trying to go to sleep and just relax. And I feel like I'm sinking in the bed after that. So try that. It is like a deep release. Yeah. So here's another thing. You got to understand your triggers. And sometimes maybe keeping keeping a journal of them or writing them down, but understand what's setting you off, maybe when, and keep a record of that. And what you need to do is to handle this, change your lifestyle. You need to understand what's going on, and you need to tell the people around you what it is that you need. You might have to tell them more than once if they don't understand, but you might need to shut the news off. You might need to unfollow people on social media. You might need to say no more often, or get grocery delivery instead of going to the store. You might need to be nicer to yourself and not feel bad about the fact that you didn't get anything done that day. So, Keon. Yes, or just bust a nut and it will relax you. There's that too, but sometimes you need a little bit more than just that, you know what I mean? So, thanks though. Yes, that's that. See, what I just showed you, you can do at work. You kind of have to wait with what Keon said till you're not at work. So, but yeah, change your lifestyle to where you can operate healthier. And the word no is going to be your friend. And it's different. Okay, so Indiana Jones Cosplay says it's difficult when the other party doesn't understand boundaries. It's not up to them to understand your boundaries. It's up to you to set them. So you have to establish your boundaries and you have to enforce them. So you guys have to remember, this is along the lines of, if somebody wastes 10 minutes of your time, 7 minutes of that is your fault. So if someone is not adhering to your boundaries, that's your fault. You have to enforce that. So, and they might not like it, especially if they've been able to walk all over everything and walk all over you and push things. And you know what? If it causes a conflict and they leave over this, then that's probably one less stress that you didn't need in your life. So, oh well, honestly, you got to guard your mental health. You have to guard your energy. Like you would guard your child. I mean, there is nothing more precious than our health. And that includes our mental health and our energy levels too. There's what something costs is the life that it takes to do it. I always laugh when people are like, okay, can you shoot today? And it's like, or can you shoot next week? Okay, sure. What's involved with the shoot? Oh, it's just over here, I don't know, an hour away. And it's just a 20-minute shoot. It's just a 20-minute wrestling match. But then it's like, it's a 2-hour drive there. It's a 2-hour drive back. It's my hair and makeup. It's that and the other. And I give them a price, right? And they're like, oh, it's just a 20-minute match. I'm like, it's my whole fucking day. Like, this is how much life it's going to take from me to film your match. That's how it works. I'm sorry if other people aren't with it enough to understand that. So, but that's how everything works. So it doesn't matter if you're talking to your friend or you're going out that night, or everything costs something. Everything costs a certain amount of life to do. Like a video game. You know, some days you just don't have the spoons for that. So you got to think of yourself as, how much life do you have? What's draining you? So that's everything. So if you look at your life that way and think of yourself as a video game, what's draining you, what's building you back up, you might have a better perspective of what's worthwhile and what's not, and what you should cut off. Otherwise you're gonna die early in the game. So because somebody will have killed you. So, and that's not good. That's not the name of the game right there. You don't want to be, dead Pac-Man. So I just showed my age, but hey, fuck it. Anyway, I like Pac-Man. Pac-Man was fun. I mean, dead Fortnite. Anyway, yeah. So there's that. So that I don't know if anybody else has any advice about anxiety there. But it's been a tough year, and I am not sure it's going to get any easier anytime soon. We are going into the holidays, which typically can be stressful. So rather than letting the holidays and the stress own you, now hopefully you can decide how you will handle that and be able to do it to the best of your ability, and maybe be able to use some of these tools and cut loose what you don't need, and save your life for where you need it the most. So Greg, no, what is angst? That's like a 90s yeah, no. So although now that you said it, I'm gonna say it nonstop because it's implanted in my brain now. Thanks a fucking lot for that. So so now, if you want, we can go to, I think I covered all that. Let me see my notes. Yep. Let's see. I explained where Aron was. He's excavating. Told you to buy my book. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Monty, A Tale of No Tale. Yes, now we talked about anxiety. Another thing about anxiety, you can go to a peaceful spot like the lake or the river, close your eyes and observe the energy. Yes, okay, that actually you did. Thank you. You reminded me. I did miss a few things. Thank you. You are right. So get on the floor with your pets, man, or borrow somebody else's. The pets teach us to sit, or go for a walk outside, go work out, like Keon said, go sit and observe. These are things that really, really, really help, like a lot. So thank you. I appreciate that. If anybody else, figure out what makes you happy. Outdoors, music, something. Yeah, when I was going through like about a 1.5 year depression, about maybe a little longer, my mom and grandma died back to back, and I got divorced, and it was a lot all at once. And forest bathing, hell yeah. So what somebody told me, this was the greatest advice I've ever gotten, and I've gotten a lot of really good advice, but this one really worked. And I've probably brought it up on here before, but I feel like you can never say it too many times. They told me to do what I used to do when I was a kid, before chasing a paycheck got in the way. They said, whatever I used to love to do as a kid, go back and do that stuff. Find your happy place again. So, all kids like to draw and paint. Kids like to go bike riding. We like to swim. We like to play. We like to do things. Those things that we enjoyed as a kid, surprisingly, we still enjoy them as adults. So whatever it was that you were into, you'll probably find you're still into it now. You just kind of lost it. So yeah, like to play the blues. You might have lost it somewhere along the way. Pick it back up. Do that. Do that shit. So I had an easy bake oven, and I loved cooking when I was a kid. And then I just kept running out of the packages of actually, I loved eating when I was a kid too. So yeah, bike riding. Definitely go bike riding. Forest bathing. I like that one a lot. That's like a big Japanese thing. And I read a book about that. They would actually prescribe forest bathing to people in Japan because the culture is so go, go, go. They would send them out to the forest to do certain things. And by forest bathing, I mean, like, they forest bathe. Like, they would drink the tea made from things in the forest. Hey, Josh. They would sit on the rocks. They would, lay out. They would get in the water. They would all 5 senses would be engaged in the forest, and they would do it, for a couple of days, and they would measure their blood pressure before they went in and then measure their blood pressure and oxygen levels when they came out, and they'd be dramatically different. So it was a really interesting study. And if you get a chance, look that up if you're interested in more. I mean, it's fascinating. So I guess hanging out in the forest does really do something for you. I mean, we know that, but still, I mean, it does a lot more for us than we think. Yes, painting. Painting's a big thing. All kids are artists, right? What happens? What the hell happens? We just stop. Why do we stop? Who cares if we suck at it? Who cares if we suck at singing? Just, so what? It's still fun. Oh, Greg, you found out about it on the Weather Network? Really? Well, you guys have better news than we do. So the Canadian stuff is a little bit more, shall we say, well-rounded in their news coverage than American news is. So you don't want to get me started on that. So anyway, go adventuring, but it's too cold to visit these places as they're closed for the season. Oh, I don't know about that. You can still go out and go do things, right? Go wander, go do winter things. Oh, create wrestling peeps on the video game. Yeah, actually. Oh, hey, Disco. Actually, I remember I took a class. I've taken a couple of the psychology classes, and one of the most interesting ones I've ever taken was called the psychology of play. And it was about how important play is. And they defined play as anything that you get lost in where you lose time. So that could be anything from going outside and gardening to video games to bike riding to reading. So play had a very broad definition. But as long as you're losing time doing it, that's regenerating your batteries. So they advise that we need to remember how to play. It's very, very important. Whatever play it is that we enjoy, do that because it's important. And a lot of adults stop doing that and forget what it's like, and they focus on work and making money and then taking care of the kids or sort of significant others, and they forget who they are and what they need. So yeah, oh yeah, Winona says, I think a lot of people just stop what they liked as a kid for fear of people judging like that stupid kid stuff. So yeah, what do we care what people think? I mean, honestly, what do we care? No one's living our lives but us. If something makes us happy, and extends our life instead of draining it in the video game that we are living in, do that. It's giving us more points. That's the name of the game, right? More points. So, okay. So I don't know. I mentioned earlier that I was going to do an Ask Me Anything. Ask me almost anything. I'm not sure that's a smart thing to do, but but feel free to, I guess, do that. We can talk about whatever you want. So Bunny says, Aron coming to my house. So is that extends your life? There you go. But yeah, thanks, Eva. Cheerio. Thanks for the bits. Yeah, thank you for the bits, and thank you for the subscriptions, you guys. We appreciate it. Thank you to our patrons too for being our patrons. It matters. And somebody did ask me something earlier on Twitter, and they said they were going to bring it on here, and I'll bring it up. They asked me what the difference between all my websites were. So I will explain that real quick. So aprilhunter.com is my old school original site that has gone through a few different changes, and it's run by I have a webmaster who handles it. So I've had a few different webmasters. The one before this one was the complete shits, and he basically screwed up my site really bad. The one I have now is great. But we lost a lot of people due to what the former webmaster did, whereas he just wanted to focus on one aspect of everything. And he did not put any personality on the site at all. It was just pictures and video. There was no anything else. And I tried to explain to him, I'm like, a lot of people who are my fans, they're coming in from multiple avenues. Like they're into comics, they are into reading, they want to hear the behind the scenes stories, like they're into like different dynamics. So he didn't want to do that. So then I started Patreon, which became that. Like I control that. So my Patreon page, which is Patreon April Hunter, that is everything. It's everything from what I'm making with my candles and soaps. It's all the pictures and video. It's this. It's all my writing. It's like all encompassing. And then OnlyFans is like a love hate thing for me. I love that I have the option to make money online with it. And I started it when all my bookings got axed in 2020 because we all, quarantine and stuff. But it has such a reputation of being porn that I feel like people on there expect more than anything I'm going to give them. So I feel like I spend like so much time on there going, no, not going to happen. No. Like I go in there and it's exhausting. Like my life just drains because people are like, well, can you do this? Well, can you do that? Well, can you do this? And it's like, no. So I love that I have an option, but it's a draining option. So those are the differences between my sites. So there you go. So there are some questions. Okay, what is your favorite cosplay character? Ooh, gosh, that's a tough one. The first thing that came to mind without even thinking was Punisher. Unfortunately, my Punisher outfit kind of fell apart, but I think that's one of my favorite ones. I really, really love doing that character. Like a lot. So I also really like Jessica Rabbit. It's an easy costume. Everybody recognizes it, which shocks the shit out of me because that's a movie that came out so long ago. Whenever young people recognize it, I'm like, how do you know this movie? Like what? But yeah, I'm pretty impressed that they've kept up. If you could be the lead writer for any form of entertainment, what would it be? TV. That's what I went to school for. That's what my degree is in. So I would be writing TV. The reason I'm not writing TV, I like to think, is because I don't live in LA, and I was told I have to live in LA. So what happened there? What happened was, I graduated in 2019. By the end of 2019, we had COVID. So here's the timeline of my fucked up life. Graduated. Literally, as soon as I graduated, I went through a breakup with somebody that I was with for several years. And I'm one of those people, I don't know if this is stupid or not, but I feel things pretty deeply. And things can incapacitate me. So breakups, the loss of a friend, betrayal, loss of a pet, like that will throw me like into a pile, like a robe and on the couch for however long it takes. That's just how I am. I've always been that way. It's like all or nothing for me. And that one threw me because I had a stepson also, and I liked his parents a lot. Still, luckily, his parents, they're still around, but I felt like I lost the whole family. So that knocked me for a loop. And then just as I was coming out of that, I got COVID in December 2019. And what I now realize was COVID. And what I now realize was long hauler COVID. I had it for a very long time. Actually, it seemed like it was probably the better part of 2020 for a lot of it to try and get my lung capacity back again. But back then I was really probably one of the first ones to get it, and no one knew what it was. My doctor called it a mystery virus epidemic going around. So my career advisor had told me to move out to LA as soon as I graduated. Due to being depressed, and then due to getting sick, I didn't. And then everything in LA shut down. So because I didn't move out there, and apparently you have to write TV because you have to be in the writers' rooms, I'm not writing TV. I don't know what I'm doing with myself right now. So I'm kind of in an interim. So here we are. Still trying to figure that out. So that's what's going on with me. So I am working on a screenplay. I have that I've been playing around with for a while. I have a whole bunch of little things started. So there's that. So we'll see. We'll see. Just happy I got that children's book published. So it just shows I can complete something. So, all right. So what's next here? Yes, I can complete it. So what are we doing next as far as tackling for writing? Would you let me take you on a date, April? I I think there's a distance thing with us. Like, I think we live pretty far from each other. Just saying. So there's that. I'm searching for the 1970s cartoon series in English. Okay, so here we are. There's more questions. I connected well with you because of wrestling and cosplay. Yeah. Hey, John, marry me. I told you I'm not getting married again. I'm not very good at it, apparently. Actually, it's a lie. I'm fucking fabulous at marriage. I just pick bad people. So, okay, so if you could transform into any kind of vehicle like Transformers, what would it be? Wow, you're gonna make me think here. Oh, a 1980s DeLorean with the gull wings. Definitely. I know it's a shitty car, but it's still the coolest car out there. Just is. Will you have an option to do a signed book? Yes, I will. Right now, if you order online, you're probably going to get them a whole lot faster than I am. But in person and online, eventually, I just ordered a box. I will eventually get it, and I will be happy to sign them and send them out. My friends and family said I should be a writer for wrestling, but I live in Florida. Why is that not an option? There's they need good writers for wrestling. Are you kidding? Start writing. Here you go. Okay. Because that was the first job I was offered when I got out of Full Sail, was to write for NXT. And I said no. I feel like wrestling's a bad relationship, and no matter what, I can't get away from it. Like, I went to school to become something else, and my first job offer was NXT. It's like, come. So here's what you do. Get your resume in order. If you don't have that yet, what you want to do is you want to write some spec scripts. So watch the show, whichever wrestling show that you want to write for, and start writing spec scripts of those shows. And write where the characters are going to go. And then you can submit those spec scripts to wherever you are submitting them to, whether it's WWE, AEW, I don't know, is Lucha still around? NWA. Submit those scripts and see what happens. I mean, you never know, but that's what you show them your work. You show them what you can do. So, and really, then you make some connections. So give it a try. Allie says, I'd love to see you cosplay Alloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, right. So I do Vikings, a lot of different Viking stuff a lot. And half the time people think that's who I'm, with the braids and everything. They think I'm imitating her. But yes, I get asked to do that one too a lot. So that is a good choice. I love the one outfit she has, but I'm not a big fan of the native looking outfit. She has like this badass warrior outfit that would probably cost a freaking fortune to make. And I would love to do that one. So if anybody wants to send it to me, I can give you my sizes. So just saying, I will do that. I will. If you want to see me in cosplays, a lot of the issue is getting the outfit. It's a very expensive hobby. So that's why I don't get a lot of new stuff. But if anybody wants to sponsor something or send it, I'll wear it. And you'll get the pictures first. So there's that. All right, let's see. If you you can feel as if you can't get out of a funk and it drains you. It makes you fearful of wanting to get up again and and even bigger, facing a new day. It's the power of fear. Yeah, I'm facing that again. Fear is a very strong emotion. I feel like we are currently being quite controlled by fear. Fear, the part of the brain that has logical thinking, is incapacitated when there's fear. So it's difficult to make a logical, rational decision if you're paralyzed in fear. That's why they say to step back and calm down. And I think we're seeing a lot of that now in society. We're seeing a lot of dumb. Honestly, I think the real pandemic is how stupid everybody is. And I think that a lot of people are stupid because of fear, and because the fear is screwing up their ability to have common sense and logic and see everything going on. And that's the problem. So recognizing that you're dealing with fear is the first step in overcoming it. And people who are brave are not without fear. They're just overcoming it. They're still scared. So they just work through it. Trust me. So you can do it. Okay, there's a lot of people asking me on dates or to get married. Okay, let me just I'm a foodie and I'm a coffee snob. So I don't know if you realize what you're getting into here. I am expensive to feed. And I will let you know if the food or the coffee is not good enough. And this is something people don't want to deal with a lot of times. Even my friends don't want to deal with it. So they can vouch for it. I'll be like, oh, I made this coffee. This is brown water. So I also have a tendency to place animals above people sometimes. And I will like stop everything for an animal. Maybe not so much for people. Hey, Billy Ray. So thank you for coming on. So, but so I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you want to date somebody like me. I'm when I'm not April Hunter, I'm not April Hunter. Just letting you know. So it might not be all it's cracked up to be. So I mean, it's like no makeup, hair in a bun, comfy clothes on, and thank you, BRV. I was going to have BRV on tonight, and he generously offered to come on and co-host with me. And then I thought, oh God, I should take this opportunity to use the challenge to see if I can do this solo. So here we are. So thank you, BRV, for offering. And here we are trying it. So, Have you dated younger men? Wink, wink. Yes, I have. And usually that's kind of, this is going to sound really terrible. Usually that's all I date. Because people my own age are kind of boring. They just want to sit on the couch and do nothing and watch TV, and it's all about the kids. And I don't have kids, and I want to get out and do things, and I want to go places, and I still have energy to do stuff. So I find that my energy level is more compatible with somebody a little bit younger. I don't know if that makes sense. So yes. So there you go. I have no age limitation issues. My requirements are that somebody has to be like intelligent and funny. So yeah. Have you caught up on Yellowstone? Yes, I have. Okay, so this is such a good show. And yes, I am all caught up on the current episode. I made sure to watch it last night. So Yellowstone is up there with Ted Lasso, Handmaid's Tale, Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy. You know those shows you get that are just so well done, you have to watch the next episode. Like there are a lot of good shows like that, and then there are shows that are incredible. Top tier, A++. Yellowstone's in that category. If If you haven't seen it, highly recommend. So your thoughts on people coming back to Times Square this New Year's Eve for 2022? Honestly, I don't have any. I don't really care. I know it sounds terrible, but I always thought New Year's Eve was just overrated in general. I'll be okay. Are you talking in reference to COVID? Is that what you mean? Here's what I think. If that's what you mean, I think people should do what they're comfortable with. So, but I also think living in fear is not living at all. So I think that we have gotten to a place where we're not really living anymore. This whole COVID thing has turned into a cult. It's like a COVID cult at this point. We like to rip apart Scientology, but that's exactly what we've come into, because now we have separated families. We are uninvited. Sorry, we're uninvited to like Christmas and Thanksgiving and different things. We have lost friends. We have people who won't hang out with us anymore if we're not vaccinated. We have people who will only hang out with us if it's gotten very culty. You have the haves and have-nots, and I honestly think that I don't think COVID's ever going away. It's out of control now. So it's not going away, and the vaccine doesn't work. We know that. Everybody I know that has had it this year has been vaccinated except for one person, and that one person got it from somebody who was vaccinated. So what are we supposed to do? Live our lives in quarantine and never see our family and friends anymore? Like, really? And we're supposed to let the government tell us what we can or can't do? And we're supposed to let our employers are now dictating what our medical wants and needs should be? No, this is ridiculous. People have lost their fucking minds if they let that happen. Your employer shouldn't have anything to do with your medical information at all. They should not be dictating your medical life to you, what you need to do or not do. First off, you want to go to Times Square, go to Times Square. You want to go to Comic Cons, go to Comic Cons. So if people don't want to go to those things, they have the option to not go. So if people want to get vaccinated, they will get vaccinated. If people want to wear masks, they will wear masks. Like, you should do what you're comfortable with. So if you're comfortable, if you want to quarantine. If you only want to order whatever. But I think not living life and staying inside in fear and not doing anything, when does that end exactly? Because this is not going away. This is 2 fucking years now. What are you we're gonna just keep going like this? Where people's families, their parents are gonna die, their grandparents are gonna die, they will never see their kids because that one kid isn't vaccinated. Like, really? That's how you want to go? That's how you want to go out? Like, that's okay? You're gonna avoid people because you're afraid of getting sick to where you're going to die anyway and never having seen them. You're gonna have your grandchildren used as a weapon against you to force you into doing something you're uncomfortable with. When did we get like this exactly? So I don't know if that answers that question or not, but I think if people at this point want to do something, then do it. Everything is out there to protect yourself. And that includes the therapeutics that people aren't talking about and love to, the stuff Joe Rogan was talking about, all of that. There are options that we don't talk about and aren't allowed to talk about, but we actually have cures, antibodies, monoclonal. We have these things that are available to us. So we should be using them if need be. So live your lives if you are okay to do it, if you are comfortable to do it. So be safe, be smart about it, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but that's what I feel right now. There you go. Yes. Throw bits and buy my book. Hey. So Star Wars goals in his life. V for Vendetta. Oh, you watched V for Vendetta. Yes. Remember the 5th of November. What else have we got here for questions? Favorite show on Netflix? Oh gosh, I don't know. I actually just watched one called Sweet Tooth, which is really weird and cute and sweet. It's about a virus that wiped out a lot of humanity and created hybrid kids. And these hybrid kids were part animal. And because they're part animal, they ended up saving the earth because they weren't destructive and tearing things down anymore. They were being careful and giving back. And the concept was interesting. And there's a little bit of a alignment to what's going on now. And I didn't know that when I put it on. I just saw a deer kid. I'm like, oh, deer. I like deers. I like all kinds of deer. So, but I thought that was super cute. There's so much good streaming TV right now. It's really hard to choose. And my attention span has been so crap that I'll watch something and get like, I don't know, 2 episodes in, and then I'm like, I don't like this. I'm not feeling it. It's not pertaining to my life right now. And then I abandon it and then move on to something else. And next thing I know, I've got like 4 or 5 half-started things, and then some new season of something else comes on that I was already watching, and then, yeah, I've got a TV mess on my hands. It's like jambalaya, television jambalaya. Yeah, I've been saying people are idiots for years. How did you get into that Japanese movie? Was it a memorable appearance? Oh yeah, Our House Collapse. Oh, gosh, that's the greatest thing I ever did that nobody saw. So, how did I get into that? I think it's because I was working in Japan. I worked for a female wrestling company. It was a division of, it was called Arceon at the time. And there weren't too many women, Western women, being invited to go back and forth to Japan. I was one of the very, very few. And it was a big honor at the time to be a Westerner working in Japan. They're just, the Japanese are just so good. And I guess somebody had seen my match, and one of my first matches was at Kyorkyun Hall, and we sold out, and I was just like, oh, and I was working with Mima Shimoda. So the people from 01 did a really cool film called, I don't even know what there were so many different titles, but I think the English title was Our House Collapse. And the premise was, there was a rival gang, there was this group of people, rival gang here, got upset with this good group of people and decided to poison the wife. The wife slowly turned into a mermaid. Again, Japanese. We know they're a little quirky with these types of things, and it was nothing short of. And I was in the rival gang, and it was really, obviously, because it was 01, the fight scenes were amazing. So we went in. The story, I don't know if you want to watch it. It's actually pretty good. It was in a theater. It did things that nobody here knows about, but in Japan it did. And I went over there and I trained with, first thing we did when I landed, like I literally got off the plane and had to go start training. But the Japanese schedule is rigorous on its best day, like 16, 18 hours, which is why they push forest bathing. But this is normal for them. So as soon as I got there, started having to learn all the choreograph stuff that they were doing. And then I had a couple of days to recover. Then it was, fittings and everything for my outfit. Then we went in and started shooting, and the shooting days were long. And I got very fortunate that somebody was willing to do some behind the scenes stuff, because if you go on to YouTube and look up Home Sweet Battlefield, which was another title, you can look at the making of April Hunter Home Sweet Battlefield, and that's all kinds of fun. So they brought in a pop star, a Korean pop star named Sunim, and she was the girl that I fought. And she was hitting me for real. she she was not pulling her kicks or hits. So about partway through, I mean, she was trying to, but she was a pop star, not a fighter. So about partway through, I tore my MCL, so the side of my knee was sticking out like a ball. So I had to keep getting therapy and then still work the 16, 18 hours. It was very, very grueling, but we got it done. But yeah, after that I had to take a little time off. But it was an amazing experience actually. So I just got really lucky. I'm kind of lucky with a lot of stuff like that. I'm fortunate. So thank you for asking. Have you watched anime? No, I have not actually. That's one of those things I always keep meaning to catch up, and I have not gotten into it. I have a couple of nephews that were crazy into it, and it never like grabbed me. Um, so no, sorry. um, let's see. Mm. Jim says, I've known April Hunter for a while. I've seen that she chooses people for who they are and not what they do or how they look. So you're saying I've dated ugly men. Well, that probably wouldn't be a lie. So I have dated some less than attractive men, yes, at times. So, but they were funny as shit. No, I mean, no, that's true. I don't deliberately go for the good looking ones, and I don't really care what they do for a living. So it's more about who they are. Same with my friends. So, well, my friends really should be hot. I prefer that, but see, Animal Kingdom. Yes, Animal Kingdom is totally an A++ show. 100%. Thank you. Oh, Twilight Zone marathon on New Year's Eve. Yes. So if you're watching Twilight Zone, then I guess you're watching Black Mirror too, right? So Black Mirror is pretty good. Twilight Zone is amazing. I never even watched Twilight Zone until a few years ago. So I'd heard of it, but I never really had a chance to sit down and watch it. I never saw a lot of classic films and stuff until recently, because I was on the road all the time. I started touring when I was young. That was one thing that Aron and I have in common, was we both started on the road when we were like 19. So we missed out on a lot of, I don't know, normal stuff that most people, so so now I'm going back and watching all the movies and shows I haven't had a chance to watch, and Twilight Zone is blowing my mind. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, people are going back to cons. See, now I live in Florida, so comic cons, horror cons, things like that, they very carefully opened up here. What, a year ago, I want to say. Yeah, this year I've done a few. We had, I would say earlier, yeah, early spring. Probably earlier than that, but I wasn't comfortable enough to go to them. Like, I was nervous about it. My first one was completely masked. My second one, the people who were hired on there didn't have to be masked if they didn't want to be, but all the attendees had to be masked. I worked a signing in Los Angeles in between, where they asked me not to wear my mask. And that made me, the door was open. It was a small thing, and that made me nervous. So then I asked them to ask the fans to wear their mask. And this was LA. They still, I guess people did not want to wear masks out there either. So it's like each thing is different no matter where you go. So went out to Kentucky for something. Nobody was wearing any masks, but they had all the bathrooms locked. So nobody could use a public bathroom because of COVID, but nobody was wearing a mask either. I don't know. So everybody has their own set of rules. It's all different no matter where you go. So, and thank you. Thank you for the bits. Thank you. Says Ali says, too bad some states mandated the vax just to go to cons and other events, but also to eat inside of friggin' McDonald's. Really? They did? No, what's going on with, I thought because that was, from what I understood, the mandate has been put on hold because it's being sued right now and challenged, right? Is that's all still, how can that even hold up with that being on hold? Doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I think I think, here's what I think. Fuck it, it's my show. I'm going to tell you what I think. I think everybody should say no. I think you should just say no. No, we're not doing it. Because, I mean, a lot of my friends who are vaccinated are standing up and saying no because they don't like the idea of being told what to do. They don't like the idea of, first it's this, but then what else comes down the line? So it makes them nervous that once you give up your rights, for one thing, they could tell you that they're mandating anything just so you have your job. So it's a slippery slope and you don't get those rights back. We haven't gotten any rights that have been taken away. And we're not going to get this one back either if we give it up. So if everybody just says no, there's more people than there are government. There's more of us. We unite. We stop being divided with the haves and have-not bullshit, or the race factor, or the gender factor, all the stuff where they try and keep everybody divided. We stick together and we say no. And it's done. If you notice, all the places that have been saying no, they've been rolling the mandates back on them. That's what you do. No is a very powerful word. Do it. It's that simple. It's kind of like being pressured into sex, right? Sorry, it's like being pressured into anal sex and there's no lube, okay? So you can go along with it, right? With your boyfriend that you barely know. But your asshole's going to tear and you're going to have problems. Or you can say no and not have a torn asshole. And after he fucks you in the ass with no lube, after you say yes, he's going to expect to fuck you in the ass with no lube whenever he wants because you said yes and he's gotten away with it. So now, no matter where you are, if you're in the car, if you're at the, at your mom's house, if you're outside sitting on a blanket, because you've said okay to getting fucked in the ass with no lube, now he's going to always want to fuck you in the ass with no lube. That's how life works. Do you want to get fucked in the ass with no lube? Because if you do, keep going the way we're going now. Because if you don't, you should probably say no. Okay, so moving on. Let's see. What's a good question here? The Toys That Made Us. Oh, I heard The Toys That Made Us is really, really good. I haven't watched it, but I heard it was really great. Oh, I'm like not even catching up. I gotta go way on down here. Colin, are you there? Help me out with some of these questions. What's good here?
Oh, I get you. I've been scrolling and posting. I've been ahead of you here a little bit.
Okay, what do we got here?
Let's see. Some people were back on your mask mandate thing here.
What are we talking about? I mean, we can stay on it if you want. I just don't want to beat people to death.
Well, we've got here Jay Westcott. You must have so many frequent flyer miles from all the flying that you do.
I used to. I don't anymore. Because when I went back to school, I kind of got grounded. That's also why I'm not as muscular as I used to be. It kind of all went away because I was sitting for so long. I went to a 24/7 school with Full Sail, and getting in any kind of workout was challenging. So sometimes it was just doing a 45-minute walk with hand weights. So the muscle that I had I'm trying to get it back now. But yeah, I used to have all kinds of passport stamps. And then I got a new passport this year. I was super excited about it. I should have taken that money and burned it because I'm not vaccinated, so I can't travel anywhere. Fuck you. Okay. Anyway, thank you for the cheering and the bits.
So I think we've caught up for most of the questions. If anybody in the chat, if you still have any questions for April, make sure you get those in the chat. It was mostly comments about your mask mandates. Everybody's fired up when they want to hear you talk about mask mandates and all that type of stuff.
Oh, really? I mean, I can go on. I just didn't want to beat you guys to death with it. So,
Well, here,
I
I
guess
found another one that I think it's from Playa. Twitch announced TwitchCon next year. Makes me wonder if it'll be worth it with people not 100% comfortable and it being in California.
oh, wow. That's a good question. I think it would probably be worth it. Because California will probably get a good turnout regardless. I mean, I had a really good turnout for my signing, and it was on a Sunday afternoon. And there was also somebody else signing down the street, and it was California, and it still did well. I mean, people just want to get out. You know what I mean? So it might do well. You never know. Like I said, I think it should be. I think we should have a lot more individual choice in these things. Like, if you want to do it, if you don't want to, don't do it. The choice thing is kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys saw this. Fuck it, and we'll talk about it. There's a well-known cardiologist in Canada who was known to be quite nasty to people who would not get vaccinated. He called them selfish idiots, and he dropped dead after his booster shot the other day. So, which I feel for his family. And the total irony of the situation is you can't go to his funeral unless you show your vaccine card. And this is what we're accepting as normal and okay. Yeah, cardiologist. Now, you would think a cardiologist would know better. Now, what is really sad about this is, well, first off, he shouldn't have had to die. Secondly, he probably spread a whole lot of misinformation and might have caused a whole lot of other people to die because of the information he was putting out there, which is frightening. The boosters, tread carefully with that one. Real carefully. I'm not going to say what to do or not do, but I would tread real carefully with that. So this weekend prompted a flurry of children getting vaccinated, which is always a great idea when something's been around for 11 months. And a drug store, I guess, in Virginia, accidentally fucked up with 112 kids and gave them the wrong vaccine. They gave them the adult dosage. That should be interesting to see how that goes. And they only got caught because somebody noticed it. Like, how many others have done this act? Apparently it's very easy to screw it up because the lids, like some are orange lids and some are red lids. So how many others have this happened to and they did not catch it? So I don't know, y'all. I don't know why they're saying this is safe for pregnant women. Pregnant women can't have a glass of champagne or a shellfish, but they can have a vaccine. Does that make any sense to you? That makes no sense to me. Nothing. That makes no sense to me. People are like, okay. So a friend of mine who's a nurse posted on Instagram that she was sick and they turned her, she's 9 months pregnant. They turned her away at the hospital because she was not vaccinated. The doctor wouldn't work on her because she wasn't vaccinated. And she's pregnant. She's not going to get vaccinated. No. So the stuff that's going on right now is just, this is insanity. And we're accepting this as okay and normal. So we need to think, I think. We need to, and I think at this point, it's past not saying anything, and it's past being polite about it. Like, I think now we actually have to speak out and we have to correct people on their stupidness. Like, I know it's not really a word, but we have to correct the stupidity that's out there. I honestly feel with the science that's there, I mean, we know that immunity exists. We know that the viral load is the same no matter if you're vaccinated or not. With what we know people who are vaccinated are getting sick, and that the vaccine's not doing what we originally were told that it would do so that we could all originally go back to normal life again. With what we know, if people still choose to hate and blame, they're making that choice deliberately. So they want to hate and blame. They want to segregate. This is what they want. They want to point fingers. They want to hate. Because there's enough information out there where we could be educated enough to know, okay, obviously this is not working, blah, 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 blah. So if people choose to ignore that, that's a deliberate choice. That's ignorance right there. So, and that's what they want. So why are we tolerating it? Why are we tolerating it? So we wouldn't tolerate it with anything else. We wouldn't tolerate it if it was autism. We wouldn't tolerate it if it was racism. Why would we tolerate it with this? We shouldn't. So Eva says, testing people in an ambulance for COVID before they're allowed to be taken to the ER. There have been deaths caused from that alone. You call an ambulance to get help, not to die on the way. Yeah, actually, a friend of mine was telling me that his wife passed. They had to test her in the ambulance, and it took 30 minutes before they could take her in. Meanwhile, she had a blood clot of the heart. So she coded out in the interim. So young, my age, young, healthy. I don't know what it's from, but I don't know. I hope people are held accountable for this. I really do. I hope everyone is held accountable for all of this. Everyone who has had a hand in hurting other people or perpetuating this bullshit, I hope that they are all held accountable for all of this in the biggest Nuremberg trial we've ever seen, part 2. I really do. I've heard horror stories from everywhere. I mean, they're locking down in Austria. They're locking down the unvaccinated now. They're building camps. There are camps here in America. It's called Project Shield. It's on the CDC website. There are camps in Canada. Like, open your fucking eyes. We can't keep living in fear and denial. Okay. Like, this is not a conspiracy theory anymore. Vaccine passports are not a conspiracy theory anymore. So we should start looking down the line and seeing where this is all heading, and stop refusing to believe things, because that's what got us here in the first place. So we need to pay attention, look at the patterns, follow the money, see where it's headed. stand the fuck up and say no. So, just saying. Thank God for DeSantis. I did not vote for him. I have never voted Republican ever. But he seems to be the only one fighting this, or one of the few people fighting this. One notice says, have you heard where parents are being kicked out of their kids' school board meetings and declared domestic terrorists for speaking up about all this? I have. And did you see that there was a woman who brought down basically the school boards the other day when she followed the money and noticed that billions and billions of dollars are being given to the schools from the government for full compliance. So that's why the vaccine programs are happening in the schools. And that's why the kids have to be masked all the time. And that's why if they won't comply, they're not allowed to go home and do online school. They're just punished and their laptops are taken away from them and the whole thing. So she got upset because I think her kid missed something like 22 days of school, and the kid was failing school, even though it was a good kid, smart kid. And turns out there are like massive financial contracts given to the school to line these kids up and vaccinate them. Why do you think this is happening? Let's just think about this for a minute. Why are doctors and nurses walking out of hospitals willing to give up their job, their high-paying job that they went to school forever for, instead of being vaccinated? Why is the government giving schools lots of money to vaccinate children? What makes sense to you? What is it the doctors and nurses are seeing that would make them willing to walk out rather than take a job? These are questions we should be asking ourselves instead of screaming at people or telling them how stupid they are, how they're selfish, or all the stuff that's going on. We should critically think about what's going on. Because there's a lot of whys and hows and all of that going on that nobody's asking. So, follow the money is greater than follow the science. You know what I'm saying? So you have to remember, to those who don't believe that anything could be doctored up, not that long ago, doctors endorsed cigarettes and said they were very healthy for us. So they had the science to prove it. All of it. So this has been going on for years and years and years and years. So we can't forget that this kind of facade has always been going on. We just haven't noticed it to this extent. So you got to keep your eyes open, okay? Oh yes, schools are vaccinating children here. They are lining them up. Here's what's happening. They'll send you a notification. They send a packet home on the first day from school. And in the small print of everything else in that welcome packet, they're letting parents know that there will be mass vaccination going on in the school. And that's what's been going on here. They line them up and vaccinate them. So John is in Canada. I have quite a few Canadians on here. So, and a lot of parents are not okay with it. So my friend's daughter ended up in the emergency room overnight for the myocarditis. And here's a fun fact. People who get myocarditis, if you survive it, there's a 60% chance you will die in the next 5 years. Now, are you okay with your kids being experimented on? Are you okay with your kids being the 112 kids in Virginia that got the wrong dose of the COVID vaccine? Because those 112 kids, those are somebody's children. So I wouldn't be okay with that. Who's okay with that? I don't know. Especially, kids, like very few of them are dying from this, like nearly none. So why is the rush to give them something that they don't need? All right, so there's that. Yeah. Doctors and scientists are idiot. Well, not all of them. It depends. You can't generalize. There's a lot of very smart doctors, a lot of very smart scientists, but unfortunately, even Harvard has had scientists busted for taking money. So, Australia, well, we now know all about Australia. That's one of the dirtiest countries ever, apparently. And if you guys haven't been keeping up on the media blackout that has been happening with Australia, you should look them up and see what's been going on, because it has been bad. But Australia has paid their scientists to not publish papers after the wildfires. How we all sent money to Australia so that they could replenish their forests of the wildfires. They paid their scientists to not publish what needed to be put back into the forests in order for the certain species to survive, because the government wanted to keep the money for themselves. So, and now they're doing what they're doing and locking everybody down and starving their people. So, yeah. So there's a country that we all used to look up to and went to hell in a handbasket, and we don't want to follow that. So, so yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I had a feeling we were going to talk about this, but still. So are there any other questions? Do you support getting money out of politics? That's a loaded question and a pretty deep one. And multi-layered. In general, yes. Here's, like I said, that's a very layered question, and I'm probably honestly not educated enough on the topic to give a real answer. But what I do know is that we have career politicians who have never lived our lives, making rules for us, laws for us to abide. And living in a capitalist society, we tend to put money over morals and ethics. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with a capitalist society. I'm saying who reins in the crazy. We got the inmates running the asylum right now. So, and we're seeing that right now. So how do we fix that exactly? So if any of us knew that, we'd be probably, the only way I can figure out how to fix it is just say no, stand up. But anyway, there's that. A Denmark type of system. Denmark has some pretty, they have a really, really high taxes. They're almost up there like Sweden with their tax system, right? Honestly, I always thought a solid system was a Canadian system or a Japanese system. Japanese healthcare with a Canadian type of system. I know the Canadians love to bitch about their systems, but it is a higher tax thing, but you do get more for your money. So, or take a combination of Netherlands, Canada, Japan, mush them together. There's your system. So, yeah. So it's a socialized democracy. It's still a democracy. The government regulates things instead of runs things. So there's a huge difference. So we have the government running things right now. So that's why with a capitalist society, there's no amount of money a mother won't pay to save her child, and there are companies that are well aware of that, and they will drive the prices up. So where does that? Why no one's regulating it? No one's capping that off, and we're seeing that now with our prices. We see that with our healthcare. We see that with our unhealthy. Like I said, where does it end? And we all suffer for it. Everybody does. So, yeah, we got to get some of the money out of this. I thought COVID was a great opportunity to tear the system down and start over again. I thought that was the way it was going to go. And then it just did a 180. So, yeah. Playa says, I'm for a hybrid system. Basic health care provided, bigger procedures come with private insurance. Yeah, we could use a hybrid system. Where was I the other day? Somebody, I think it was Aron. He went in to have something looked at. It was $130 for him to have something looked at. And we were talking about how, everything's for the health and well-being of us. And yet they're still being charged a whole lot of money for basic stuff, like insulin is still so expensive. They jack the prices of COVID testing if you won't get vaccinated. That's capitalism right there. You have the universities for the teenagers who are refusing to get tested at the universities. They are charging them $750 a month for COVID testing. So my friend's kid, who's going along with all of this, like a lot of these kids, they don't understand what medical tyranny is. They don't get it. He finally experienced it for himself the other day, where he bought 3 tickets. He bought to a concert for him and his friends. And, they went to, it was at a venue that was vaccine or tested only. So the tests are so backed up. They'll only take the medical tests. So his friends couldn't get in to get a test. So here he now has 3 tickets that he paid for, and they couldn't get in for testing. So he had to eat the 3 tickets. And his mom, who was very anti-mandate, was like, okay, now you understand. You should not have to get a test or have a vaccine to go see the concert that you paid tickets for. You paid to see them. So because you can't get in to get a test, and now you have to eat those tickets. So you're reliant upon a system to work for you so that you can go, no, this is not. So he finally, a lot of people don't understand until it actually hits them in the wallet or bites them in the ass, or they get the torn asshole after they've been fucked. So this is what it takes, unfortunately. So I once heard somebody say that empathy would solve all the world's problems. And I thought that was insane at the time, but I'm starting to think that maybe it's right. Because if we just kind of understand where people are coming from, if we just understand things on that level, then maybe things would be a little better. I don't know. So no, John, this is my show. I can say fuck, piss, cunt all I want. That's it's still free. I'm enjoying it while it is. So this is podcasts and alternative media is the last free speech we got. So anyway, there are no more questions, and I appreciate everyone that hung out here and stayed. It is getting late. You guys need to go to bed. So so get your asses to bed. Make sure you do your squishies and all that stuff. And thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for your subscriptions and throwing bits. Thank you for being a Patreon member. And remember to buy my book. It's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. All right. Have a good night. And Aron and I will see you next Tuesday. And we do have a Festivus Fred. Hey, we do have the Festivus show coming up. So remember, we'll be airing out the grievances and celebrating at the right before Christmas. If I have anything to do with it, it'll be the Tuesday before Christmas. And you guys, thank you so much for playing along with me and being part of my first solo show here, which was very nerve-wracking, by the way. So it was ironic that we talked about anxiety with a little anxiety. So thank you. Anyway, stay out of trouble or don't get caught.